Hey everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and welcome to the video that I never really wanted to make. Today we're going to be talking about books that have been printed by AI, or at least that's what my feeling is, my belief is after purchasing a couple of them. Yes, I knew what I was doing, but I wanted to verify with my own eyes and fingers what was going on and to see if such creations that I was seeing on the photos were even possible. And for the record, for those of you who don't know me, welcome to my channel, and please subscribe if you're looking for crochet designs that you want to use to elevate your level of crochet, and also hit the notification bell so that you receive notifications. I do publish designs a couple times a month, and we do have a Friday fun that's usually at noon Eastern time every Friday, or the Fridays that I'm available. Well, anyway, for those of you who don't know, I have authored several books with words like Celtic cable crochet in them. This was one of my first. There was one before that published in 2013, 2014 called Contemporary Celtic Crochet. So this style of crocheting has been around for a good 15 years or longer, actually. And I have done a lot of work in this particular field because I love crochet so much. But it has been brought to my attention as I looked on Amazon to find more and more of these other titles popping up. And if you go ahead and show you, they actually use the exact title of my book. So just for the record, AI Real Crochet. AI Real Crochet. One more time. AI Real Crochet. Just to set the record straight. And I'm going to go into detail with you on these books. I'm going to show them to you up close and personal, and I'm also going to show you some of my online searching where you're going to find many more. And all I know is that whoever is doing this, and you're going to learn how difficult that is to find out, but they're very good at their optimization, the search engine optimization, or something called SEO, because these books are showing up sooner than the legitimate books. Now, I want to bring this to your attention, not just because it's going to hurt me, but it's going to hurt many of my friends out there. I also think that it's just a very sad time in publication in general, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now, I don't want this to be totally negative, and I want to make some general statements before we get into all of this and looking at some really poor examples. First of all, AI is a tool, and just like any tool, such as a baseball bat or even the gift of fire, these are good tools when used in the right way. Okay, it's using AI for deception that I have a problem with, especially when they're used to mislead and scam the very people that I love, people who support and follow me with my crochet and other crafter friends. I'm also a knitter, so really anybody in the crafting industry or even new people who are looking to get in are more easily scammed with these kinds of things. And I think those are primarily the people that are being targeted here. But I just wanted to say from the onset, I benefit tremendously from AI in other areas. Talk to text, language translation, a whole host of other very positive things that AI can be used for. Of course, the deception is not one of them. Okay, the other thing is, I've heard many people say, oh, the self-publishing is bad. I totally disagree. The ability to self-publish has opened up many wonderful opportunities for crafters and people of all sorts of studies. So the ability to self-publish for me personally has opened a lot of doors. It has allowed me to combine my video instruction with the written instruction for really a wonderful price. And the idea that these are being printed locally instead of being printed overseas and then shipped, they are printed locally within the country where you purchase them in many cases. So it's giving people, local people in your country, a job. And it's been a very positive thing. It has just allowed crafters like me to sell worldwide something that was not even possible 15 years ago, and with legitimate high quality work. So I don't ever want to minimize something that is self-published. That said, unfortunately, scammers have also learned how to turn this into deception and thievery. And we see this on Etsy, we see this on Amazon, and probably anywhere you go. I mean, it's just part of man's fallen nature. So we have to be aware and be careful. We need to be aware of this in everything we source online and elsewhere. So anyway, this kind of deception, though, that the AI or whomever, it's really a person behind the AI. Somebody is generating this, so it's not the fault of AI as much as it's the fault of whomever is manipulating the AI to produce these. This kind of deception steals legitimacy and revenue from those of us who are trying our best to do excellent work in these areas. And again, this is not just related to crochet and knit and the crafts. This just goes across the board with information in general. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we can find. So here are the two books that I ordered from Amazon: Celtic Cable Crochet Mastery, Celtic Cable Crochet. And just to show you the size of these, they're not very big. This is my full-size book. That's the original Celtic Cable Crochet. And I believe my crochet book is one of the very first, if not the first, that use the combination of these words, Celtic cable and crochet. Particularly, I guess, contemporary Celtic crochet was the first using the Celtic word, because I remember my publisher asking a question and trying to wrap their heads around what that means. Well, anyway, just wanted to show you the comparison in size. Looking through these, I decided I would try to make one of the projects in the book. And I will tell you right now, I could show you my little swatch, but it's not much to see. It's very underwhelming. I didn't even get to row 2 because I don't believe the directions were even close. But we'll look at that. So as you can see, there was no thought really given to how this is laid out. It just pretty much reads like a novel. If you read some of the words here, like they're going to define yarn for you, I'll read just one paragraph. The yarn you choose will have a significant impact on your crochet projects. For beginners, it's often recommended to start with a worsted weight yarn, as it's easy to handle and gives good stitch definition. That's a questionable statement. It really depends on what it's made of that will determine the stitch definition anyway, not the size. The choice of yarn color is also important. Solid colors tend to show off the intricacy of Celtic cables more clearly, while variegated or multicolored yarns can sometimes obscure the finer details of the design. I think it's interesting just to define yarn. It's really talking about other things here. But while these statements in and of themselves are true, but again, you get an idea of how the wording is just very sterile and bland. It was not written by a human. It was extracted from the internet, I'm sure. And so it spends a lot of time defining these very basic things. There are no pictures for quite a ways. And with the intricacy of the picture on the front, I would have hoped, at least take a stab at giving me some good pictures. So we get to the very first book. I mean, and some of these topics are laughable. I've been designing Celtic cable crochet techniques for more than a decade now. And I will tell you that there is not nearly enough information here to get started. It's just enough to maybe qualify that you're talking about it some in the book, I mean, for the title, but you're going to need much more than this. Okay, here we go. Learn the basics of cable crochet with this small, beginner-friendly project. Don't even get me started on calling this a beginner-friendly. So this is a Celtic cable crochet, and this is this essential technique that's going to build confidence according to the book. It spends a paragraph describing what this thing is, and let's actually take a closer look. When you look at it real closely, there are no stitches here. This is like a piece of rope that's been intertwined. I'm pretty sure this is AI generated, it's certainly not crochet. We know that. I know that for sure. Okay, so materials list. This is interesting. You're going to need worsted weight yarn. Choose a solid color to highlight the cable pattern. Okay, a size H or 8 or 5 point. Well, I'm filling in the 5.00, but I'm being a little too specific here. So 5mm crochet hook. You're going to need a 1-inch key ring and stitch markers to mark the beginning and the end of the round. Okay, so this is worked in rounds. Work a row of double crochet, leaving the last 2 stitches unworked. Okay, so if you can visualize, you now have a chain, you have single crochet row, and you have a row of double crochets. Okay, begin the cable twist. To create the cable, yarn over, insert the hook into the 2nd stitch from the previous row. Okay, pull up a loop, then yarn over again and pull through the remaining loops on the hook, which basically forms a half double crochet. This forms the first twist. Repeat the process for the 3rd stitch, pulling the hook through the last 2 unworked stitches of the previous row. I tried this and I ended up, I really don't understand where they want you to place the hook. I tried doing this, and then for row 4, it's just, you just continue the cable, okay? There was no crossing in here. If you're going from the 1st stitch to the 3rd stitch, there was no crossing in these instructions whatsoever. And then you go to row 4. Continue the cable. For this row, work another row of double crochet across, should be double crochets, anyway, using front post and back post stitches to continue the twisting motion of the cable. Okay, so now they've just defined, telling you to use front and back post stitches to continue the twisting motion of the cable. I honestly, I really tried to wrap my head around this. I have no idea what they're talking about. All I know is if you're going to use double crochets and half double crochets, let's go back to this picture. Do you see any half doubles or double crochets in this picture? There's not one. And that's a good indicator that this is moot. This is nonsensical. If a human did create this, they need to seriously look at some of my YouTube videos to learn how to make a double crochet. Here's another picture. Simple Celtic cable coasters. Simple? Seriously. Anyway, I read through the pattern, and there is no way that this wording creates one of these. Okay, let's look at another. And I'm not going to bore you with all of these, but here's another one. These are very creative photos that the AI generator came up with, or somebody came up with. But again, you have that I-cord look and the look of something that's certainly anything but crochet. And I would even dare to say there's no way this could be knitted either. Okay, here's another picture. I just wanted to show you some of the designs that are heralded in this book. Again, these are not crochet stitches. This looks like it's trying to mimic my Celtic weave stitch, but it's not close. There are no double crochets or treble crochets in this. Again, here's another beautiful picture. It looks like it's ribbed. I mean, it looks like this could be crocheted from a distance, but when you go through the information, the instructions, you are not going to get this, I promise you. Another photo. Notice they're all in black and white. Yeah, there is no way that the directions given create something like this. This is crazy. They do not give you specifics. They tell you, yarn. Okay, you're going to need yarn. We know that. How much yarn? What brand yarn? What? Okay, it says worsted weight. That's as specific as it gets. There are no yardages on this. Why? Well, because they were never created. That's why. So anyway, just wanted to show you some of the images. Oh, this is crazy. I would imagine a pattern as complex as this, at least if I were writing something like this. Don't worry, I'm not going to. I am not going to be accused of copying AI. I don't need to stoop that low. But if I were to crochet something like this, to make it clear and understanding, I would imagine the pattern would be at least 20 pages long, and I would include some videos. Okay, this is just a few pages here. I mean, and there are no diagrams, no specifics on any of this. And why? Why? Well, because it's not real. So here's another. Okay, so let's take a look at Celtic Cable Crochet Mastery by Kambari Fintistic. I will give them credit. That's a very creative author's name, don't you think? Forgive me. I know I am getting sarcastic. Again, I am trying not to be angry. And I am trusting in the Lord. I know that He's going to take care of me, and He's going to take care of our crochet craft, and a lot of this is going to shake out over time. Okay, again, I'm not going to go through in detail, but very similar as far as materials needed. Worsted weight yarn, smooth and light colored for visibility. Okay, let's go ahead. I want to see that sweater. I want to make that sweater. Oh, but first, here is a cup cozy. There we go. Cup cozy looks again like it's made of I-cord. Okay, I've come to the section of the sweater. Celtic Cable Yoke Sweater. I wonder how much yarn I'm going to need. Okay, this is interesting. A DK or worsted weight yarn. Now these are a category 3 or 4. Please know that those are very different categories. So I know that they're drawing this from somebody else's pattern. Okay, approximately 350 to 450 yards for front panel. Okay, it's just very, very general talk. I don't have, anyway. And that seems to be a little bit on the short side to me for the pattern that's going to have as intricate a design as this, with a lot of surface texture. Finished size, okay, it's going to be 18 inches wide and 24 inches long. Okay, this is comical. Sizing can be adjusted for other sizes, S to XL, by adding or subtracting border, stitches, or rows. Okay, so they're just telling you if you want to make it a different size, although we're not really told what size this is, you're on your own. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with all the details here. Suffice it to say, it's inadequate. It's only like 3.5 pages of information. Again, no diagrams, no photos, probably because this has never been made with human hands, or is not even able to be made with them. Okay, let's take a look at the back. I would love to get more information on this Kambari Fintistic person. There is no information on the author. That pretty much sums up what's in here. So my goal in showing you some of this is to prevent you from wasting your money. I also want to encourage you to check out Real Celtic Cable Crochet. I will have my information in the video description. I'm also going to respond for those people who may think, oh, I may sound like sour grapes because somebody else is competing with my work. And that could be furthest from the truth. 2 friends of mine who are in the publishing business, who design and have published designs in a similar fashion, I am very happy to promote, and I have already done that. So I did make mention of my friend Noelle Stiles, and I will have her information in the video description. She has a beautiful book that I've already pointed out. Also, my friend Jennifer Ryan has been a very close friend of mine, and her website and YouTube channel is Celtic Knot Crochet, and many of you who have followed me for long know that we have actually recently collaborated on a design together. We're very good friends, and I do everything that I possibly can to promote her work as well, because my goal here is to promote good crochet. I want to see this art form transferred from generation to generation. And I think the way to do that is to have good, solid designs on the market, which is why I publish and which is why I self-publish often on Amazon. Go ahead and do a little search on Amazon. Let's go ahead and look up Celtic Cable Crochet, which is the name of one of my books that I have with Penguin Random House, and there it is. Thankfully, it's still coming up as the top search. It should, because it's been there since, as you can see, 2016. It's coming up on 10 years next year. And I have another book, Contemporary Celtic Crochet, which used to appear right next to it. But instead, look what we are finding. Celtic Cable Crochet, notice the exact copy. Celtic Cable Crochet Mastery. Good title. A step-by-step guide for stunning textured designs. Let's go ahead and click on this. And just wanted to point out the name, the author, Kambari Fintistic. When you click on this, let me show you what you get. You get all these other books that are by all these other people. And what this tells me is that this person does not have an author's page. So let's go ahead and go back and let's click on the book and look at this very carefully. And this is how you can tell whether something is AI or if it's real. If it looks too perfect, it's probably not real. Definitely not handmade. Okay, you can look at the designs, the scrolling, the Celtic knotting in this. I mean, it's kind of an overstatement, kind of a mess in my opinion. But the cables look delightful, but they don't look like traditional knit or definitely not crochet cabling for those of you who are familiar with the craft. Now, if you're brand new to crochet, this could be confusing to you. This looks more like I-cord, which is cords made of slip stitches and just kind of making ropes and then twirling them together. That's what it looks like to me, or even look like paracord with some of these smallers. I cannot imagine what it would take to crochet cording as small as that. That would be like lace crochet. Anyway, all this to say is this is not real. Okay, so definitely take a look at this. And this is another indicator. Look at the back of this book. Just the way this is spaced so erratically. And if you read the print, I'm not going to bore you with reading all of this. You can read this. You can look them up and read them. It just reads in a very sterile way, not in a human way at all. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Now, when I started out to do this project, there were only 2 or 3 of these, and since then, more have been added. So these have been starting back in July, and every month or so, another one comes out. Here's another one, Celtic Cable Crochet. Notice copycat on this title, and I'll tell you why they're copying these words is because these search words come up on the higher side of these projects. All right, so let's take a look at this one. And just to save you time, I did look up all of these authors, and basically Rowena Fenley, they're either taken from a name from ancient history or they just don't exist. The bottom line is none of these names have a social media footprint anywhere online. So let's look at Rowena's book here. And as you can see, this is not crochet. I mean, it's kind of meant to look like chain stitch and just woven and pasted, but then look at the background. I mean, it's not even a good imitation of knit or crochet, in my opinion. And let's take a look at the back of the book. Okay, so that's a little bit better, but still, not a lot of time was taken in the layout of this book. That's another indicator of an AI book, is if someone is not taking the time to make it look artistic, then it's probably not real. And I'm going to take a closer look at this with you in just a bit. All right, let's look at another one. Okay, this is another one that appeared. Marigold Flaxley. Ugh, what another creative name. Again, you look it up and all you get are flowers. You don't get a real person. There's no footprint online of this person, Marigold Flaxley, existing. All right, and let's take a close look. Again, very similar to the book that we just looked at, and in many ways just absolutely perfect. Okay, let's look at another one. And again, that one is Celtic Cable Crochet, another one. And unfortunately, These three that I showed you, 1, 2, 3 books, are displacing this book, which let's take a look at it at the risk of being self-promotional here, which is not my goal. I just wanted to show you this is my book, Celtic Cabled Throws to Crochet. This is a legitimate book. I have videos. You can see the imperfection with the way this was photographed, with a little bit of a ripple there. And I tried to get that as flat as I could, but you know, this is the real world. And you can see, if you look at the back side, let's take a look at this. You can tell these are real stitches. And if you have any doubt, you can look me up online. You can look up Bonnie Bay Crochet. You can look up Bonnie Barker. And you can go to the author page. If you go to Bonnie Barker, if you click on that, it'll take you to my author page. And you can tell that I've been busy. Okay, I've been in the process of publishing really since 2009, and I've been crocheting since let's say about 1970. So don't do the math, but I just wanted to show you that. And you can read my full bio here. You can talk to people in the real world who've met me. I've met many of you, and that's one of the most delightful things that I've been able to do. But anyway, so I'm just showing you that this is a legitimate book, but it's, you know, it's bookend, no pun intended, by 2 books here that aren't real. Here's another one, Celtic Cable Crochet for Beginners. Are you serious? And I think they're trying to piggyback on another book that I did called Cable Crochet Made Easy. Actually, there's another one similar. So let's take a look at this one, just so you know that these are not real. Okay, do you see a similarity here? Do you see the absolute perfection that you see in this AI generated photo? Yeah, and let's take a look at the back. Very similar. No time taken for layout on this. So again, another indicator that it's just kind of thrown together by a computer. Here is another one. And let me add too that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these AI books coming up before legitimate works of mine down here. Celtic Crochet Shawls and Scarves. I'll show that to you in a minute. Okay, here's another one. Celtic Cable Crochet Essentials. Oh my goodness. Essentials. Okay, I am getting a little sarcastic, y'all. Please forgive me. This is just better, I guess, to be a little sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek than to be angry, which is honestly what I was a few minutes ago, because I only thought there were 2 or 3 of these on the market, and they have doubled since I had set out to work to make this video for you. Okay, so look at this. See how perfect all of these are? Unlocking the ancient art of Celtic knots and cables for the modern crafter. Again, Gabriella Jimmy. There is one other person I found on Facebook that's Gabriella Jimmy. It looked like a young adolescent, and there was nothing about crochet there, so I imagine that was not the person that supposedly did this. Okay, so and let's look at the back. Again, nothing special. Let's look at that. Nothing special about the back, just verbiage, which was, I'm not even going to bother reading it to you because it, again, sounds very sterile and generic, that anything that you could just pull off of Google or have AI generate for you. And again, here is my book. Let's just take a quick look at this. And this is a real person. Notice this is a real person. It's actually my daughter-in-law, Christy. She's a beautiful gal. There's my logo. And here's, another person. Another person. This is copyrighted, yes. I did make some effort. I tried to put some effort into making the books look attractive on the front and the back. And you can tell these are, well, I don't know if you can, but these are real crochet stitches. And if you have any doubt, again, you can look me up. Click on that. It'll take you to my author's page. And if you read through my copy here on the description, I think you're going to find a little more human sounding language rather than computerized verbiage. Okay, so let's go back. And here is yet 2 more so that you look. Just see the similarities here with these ropey kind of I-corded knots. And again, the words Celtic cable crochet, I think again they're picking that because it searches well. It comes up quickly in a Google search. Okay, and this is a comprehensive guide to beautiful and intricate designs. Okay, and we can read a sample. Let's see. Oh my goodness, look at this sample. Doesn't that look amazing? Yeah, but this is clearly not any kind of crochet that I have ever seen. And let's go ahead. And this is the synopsis of the book. And you can tell it's just not a lot of thought has gone into how this looks. Beyond, getting your money. That would cost you $8.99. Here's another one that popped up recently. Again, Celtic cable crochet made simple. I think they're kind of piggybacking on my book, Celtic cable crochet made easy, which is also, it comes up quickly in the search with those words. So let's look through here, and here are two books that are legitimate. This is from my friend Noelle Stiles. Let's take a look at her book, Colorful Crochet Cables. And you can take a look at this. See how different this looks than the ones we've been seeing? This is a real book. This is a real person. If you even want to meet Noelle, I have an interview with her on my channel, and I'll post that in my video description. Okay, and here is another book. This is my book, Contemporary Celtic Crochet. This has been on the marketplace since, as you can see, 2014. I have 790 reviews. You can, and a pretty decent review, 4.7. I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful for those of you who do review my books. Again, this is a real person, a real book. And notice you can see my crocheting. You can read a sample. Okay, let's look at the sample. Okay, you can see there's been thought put into the layout of this book. You can see quite a lot of projects. There are 24 projects in here. My introduction, getting started, and just a lot more detail. These are real photographs of real crochet. Those are my hands from about 15 years ago. So lots and lots. Lots of ways you can verify what is in the book. Okay, and if it's just very sketchy, like I say, check out the author. Looks like all they're going to give us here is the Stitch Dictionary. But anyway, so that is there to peruse. And again, you can look up the reviews. You can go down below and you can look up the reviews and you can read what people are saying. Now, I will say one thing about this. This is not the all in all sometimes, because I know there are some ways that people can artificially inflate the reviews and the numbers on some of these pages. So you can't rely exclusively on that. I would just rely more on, checking out the author's name and seeing, what they've done. Okay, here is yet another one. Oh my goodness. By Jenny Williams. Okay, now you can check out the reviews on this, and it's gotten a 1-star review. For the record, 1 star is the least you can give it. I tried giving a project or a book on here 0 stars, and you can't do that. You have to give it at least 1 to even post a review. You see more of that I-cord effect. Yeah. And Celtic cable crochet again and again. Ay, ay, ay. Here's another one that popped up just overnight. This was not here yesterday, or at least I didn't see it. Several more of these have popped up overnight in my feed, and it's just really discouraging. Look at this. I guess that looks impressive, but you can clearly see these are not crochet stitches as advertised. And the back of the book, again, no thought given, just throw it up there and charge people money for it, which is just very disrespectful, in my opinion, to your audience. You want to give them the absolute best that you can. Here's another one that I thought was interesting and worth looking at. Let's go ahead and see how this color looks kind of weird. It looks almost airbrushed, which maybe in the AI, that's what they do. But if you see colors like this, let that be a flag in your mind that this may not be real. While there are some excellent color changing yarns out there, this is not real. And again, you see that I-cord look to all of this. So, you know, that is a clue that this is not real. Let's take a look at reading the sample. Oh, this is something to draw attention of a real person. Now, whether this real person is crocheting this is questionable. But that's one thing that is lacking on a lot of covers of these AI books is a real person. Now, having said that, it's not that difficult, I don't think, for them to generate a real person as they do in this picture here. I've seen many social media posts of, you've probably seen the grandmas that crochet the big tanks in their living room, which of course is all AI, or the giant cats that are like 7 feet tall. So it's proof that it's not hard to put people or to generate people in things like this. The best for last here. This came up last night. I was looking. I didn't see this earlier. Unfortunately, I actually found 4 more, but I'm not going to bore you with all of these. Hopefully, what you see from this video will help you to identify what's real and what's not. But anyway, you also notice again the common cord here of this I-cord. You can say it's kind of a common thread, no pun intended. Okay, again, this is from the book. You can see there's very little skill used in the layout, very little design here. This really caught my eye last night as I was looking. This is an example, look at the top left picture here, of the chain stitch. Did you know that you needed a sewing machine to make a chain stitch? And then down at the bottom, the chain stitch is the starting point for most crochet projects. To make a chain stitch, follow these steps. And then the steps are given, which kind of describe a chain stitch, but why would you put a picture of a sewing machine unless you have no idea what the craft is really about? Here's some other pictures. This is the slip stitch. And I'm not really sure what they're doing. You can see another needle involved here. So that's very confusing, and you have some knitting needles in the background. This is this odd looking hook. But anyway, this is not a good representation of what a single crochet should look like. It's just very confusing. And here's another picture. Doesn't that look like a knitting needle? To me, that just looked really strange when I saw it. It could be that the hook is down, but again, this is supposed to be a half double crochet, and you don't really see the actual stitch, or at least I don't see it well enough on either of these. And this is supposed to be a double crochet. And here, this is interesting. I don't know what she's doing here, but this is supposed to be a treble crochet, and it looks like 2 knitting needles, but really with the knobs on the end like that. I've not seen such a thing before. So again, I think just if you see weird things that just don't look right, just stay away from them, and definitely report them to Amazon or wherever you are purchasing them. This morning I got this, I screenshot this from one of my emails from Amazon. And this is after reporting some of the fake reviews on these books that were giving them glowing reviews, like 5-star reviews. And it's like, that can't be right, especially when all the other reviews are 1 star. But just to show you that it does help, Amazon says, thanks again for taking the time to report a review. Reports like yours help us keep reviews on Amazon trustworthy and safe and useful. Over the next few days, we'll check if the review meets our community guidelines and take appropriate action. We have 0 tolerance for fake reviews. Our advanced technology and expert investigators stop the vast majority of attempts to publish fake reviews. We also take legal action against people and companies that buy and provide fake reviews. And then it encourages me to see our anti-manipulation policy. All that to say, please, if you see things that look AI, feel free to leave a comment or a review, even if you did not purchase the item. And if you see a review that's just wrong or just doesn't make sense to you, feel free to report it. I think this is going to help real people to take a look at some of the things that the bots are doing back behind the scenes. So thanks in advance for those of you who are taking time to just help with this situation where you can. Okay, so I want to summarize what actions can we take now that this Pandora's box has been opened. Well, let me give you some tips that I can think of. If you can think of other tips to help us, please post in your comment section. Or if this has happened to you in another area, please let me know. Tell us about it in the comment section. Also, if you've had good experiences with self-publishing, please tell us about that too. I don't want to be all negative. Let's be positive as well. Okay, so positive actions that you can take. First of all, seek to learn more about the author. Are they even real? If so, they will have some kind of an online footprint somewhere. In other words, they may have a Facebook page, not necessarily will, but if you do a quick Google search, there should be something else that comes up about the person, especially if they are trying to promote their book. That was one thing that was totally lacking in the ones that we looked at. Another thing you can do is report the problem to Amazon or the source of sale of these books, or if it's on Etsy or wherever, report it. That might not be the easiest thing to do, but there's always a place where you can at least comment on this, and maybe somebody will check it out, and we can turn the tide on some of these. Another thing you can do is be careful when purchasing online anywhere, such as the books that I showed you. Get a closer view of the pictures if you can, to see, are they crocheted? Are they not? Does it look too good to be true? If it does, it probably is. Also remember that the number of reviews, or those 5-star, 4-star, whatever, they are not totally trustworthy. In general, by and large, you can kind of depend on it, but I would also go beyond the 5-star thing, and I would look at the comments. See how many people actually left comments. What are the comments like? Just keep in mind that there are going to be some people that are always miserable, and they're going to always be eating sour grapes. So you have to kind of discount some of that. But again, if you see a repetition, something that's common again and again, either good or bad, then you get a better idea. And also personal recommendations from those that we know and trust are probably the best kind of recommendations that you can get. Well, anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope this saves you from some not so great purchases in the future. But before we go, I just wanted to thank you so much for supporting what I do. And on behalf of my crochet and knit friends, I just want to thank you for supporting them too, and just helping to keep this industry as strong and as great as it can be. You are the best people I know out there. God bless. Bye-bye.